when we decided we were going to open up the bakery, me and Michelle sat down, we wrote our mission statement. We wanted to make sure we was a triple bottom line business. We wanted to be a third place before third place was a buzzword. We listened to the community. That's the only way you get a community to buy into you is if you listen and give them what they want, not what you think they want. You wonder why all these businesses close down so quick. It's because they're not listening to what the community needs. They think they know what they need. Mm-hmm. And if the community can't afford you and don't need you, then how are you going to be sustainable over there?
Mm-hmm. What up, though, Black Fridays family? Welcome back to another installment of the Black Fridays podcast. Before we get into today's episode, I need you to make sure that you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, drop some comments, share some episodes with some friends, family, whoever you see fit, and then also make sure you hit us up on all major streaming platforms. Now that we got that out the way, I want to introduce you to somebody who has become a master in making good cakes and bakes. Miss Oprah Anderson, how you doing today?
Hey, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
Thank you for stopping by the podcast.
Oh, no, thank you for having me on here.
Absolutely. So doing my research, if you've been to any event that April has spoken at, you are not shy at talking about how you are not very much a people person. So the fact that you're here today with us, I take that in high regard. So I'm very thankful.
Oh, I'm not a people person, but I do great with just like one-on-one, but not with a crowd of people.
Got you. Fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. So in terms of the story behind Good Cakes and Bakes, which is a phenomenal institution that you've created and been in business for over 10 years now, place that I'm a fan of and love the communal aspect of it, everything that you've been doing for the community, and then also super quality product. I was interested because I heard this at either somewhere that you had spoke or maybe had mentioned this in passing, that you actually come from a finance background. Mm-hmm. So you haven't been a baker or in the restaurant industry all your life. So how does one go from finance to creating something such as amazing as Good Cakes and Bakes?
So I've been baking since I was a kid. That's always been my happy place. Being in the kitchen, watching my mother bake, watching my grandmother bake. It's always been my happy place. But to give away my age, there was no Food Network channel. There was no celebrity chefs. So to go to my mother and say I wanted to be a baker was be like saying, oh, I'm working at McDonald's forever. And I had a son in high school. So that'd be like, oh, I got to take, my mother's looking at like, oh, I'm going to take care of you and him forever. You ain't going to ever take care of your kids. So that wasn't an option for me. Mm-hmm. So then in 2010, I started following these food blogs, and one of the things on there they was talking about was cake decorating classes. And so I was like, what's a cake decorating class? So I looked it up, and they was like, oh, you take it at a craft store. So I was like, what is the hell is a craft store? Mom was like, oh, that's like Michael's. So I went, signed up for the class. It was a 4-week class. Was going to the class on Monday. So Sunday night I had to bake a cake, and I would take the cake to class on Monday, and they teach you how to decorate it. And I was like, you know what? After like maybe 3 or 4 classes, I was like, I don't really like the decorating part of it. I like making a cake. So I was like, I want to have a food blog because I was following all these food blogs. And so I was like, I'm going to go back to school to get a degree in pastry art so that I can have a food blog. Mm-hmm. That's how I started. I was like, I want to know why I'm supposed to be using baking powder opposed to baking soda. So I need to know all the information. So I started classes at Macomb because that's the only school that offers pastry art as a standalone degree. I didn't want no certificate. I wanted a degree. Mm-hmm. So I started classes, and in my classes, I was like, I think I was doing cost control and recipe development. I was like, I should open up a bakery. I was like, yeah, instead of a food blog, I want a bakery. I get to bake all the time, whatever I want to bake, when I want to bake it. I was like, I should bake. So I went to Michelle and I said, hey, I want to open up a bakery. She was like, oh, that's cute. That's real cute. Let's talk about it later. And we had just got married. We've been married for maybe like 8 months at this point. Mm. And she was like, oh, that's cute. So she didn't say nothing else about it. So a couple weeks later, I came and said, hey, I gave my 2-week notice. I had never sold to anybody before then. You know, gave away to friends and family, and everybody gonna tell you everything is good. Yeah. Then they might go home and be like, what the hell did she give me? I can curse on here, right?
Absolutely. Okay, yeah. So,
I was like, and so I did my very first pop-up. And again, that was on the Avenue of Fashion. They were doing a pop-up they had an RFP coming. They're about to activate that corridor again. And I was like, oh, I should apply. But I didn't know that if I won, I was going to have to open up in 6 weeks. So I was like, oh, no, I'm not going to apply. maybe in a year, even though I quit my job already, I was like, maybe in a year, I'll be ready, but I'm not ready now. I want a year off work. I want to be able to do some recipes. I want to be able to go to Panera's and just sit and eat and look on food blogs. And then Michelle, she was like, oh no, give it here. Let me take it. I'll fill this out for you. Mm-hmm. So we was reading it and it was like, oh, even if you don't win, you're still eligible for free technical assistance. So I was like, oh, maybe I should apply. And then in a year, when I'm ready, I can reach out for like legal assistance and stuff like that, right? So it was due at 5:00 on July 5th. I sat down at 4:30 July 5th to fill out the RFP. Again, not to win, just had my name on the list. And we actually won. So we had 6 weeks to open. Mm-hmm. And we've been open for 12 years.
At the same location?
Same location.
Or the main location, I should say.
Yeah, main location on Livernois. Been there for, it'll be 12 years in September.
Wow. And yes. What has that been like, just in terms of the transition? I'm sure you've seen a lot in the last 10 years, especially being in that spot, the Avenue of Fashion, legendary business area, especially for Black businesses. Mm-hmm. Like, what has that been like? Because you had mentioned the program and the opportunity that you had, but at that period in time where the city was, that wasn't necessarily like the it thing. Like now it's grants and loans and all types of stuff for people now, but at that time that wasn't the main thing.
Especially since like a week before a week after we applied for the grant is when the city filed bankruptcy, largest bankruptcy in municipal history. And so I quit my job. I'm about to want to open up a bakery in Detroit. My father was like, they just filed bankruptcy. Ain't nobody got no money here. What did you do, child? He kept saying, they give your job back, right? He was a good worker. They give your job back. I was like, well, I'm doing this now. So it was hard. It was hard because, like you said, at the time, the Avenue of Fashion was not the it corridor, right? Because at that time there was only hair salons over there. We had one restaurant over there, which was the Bistro. Yep. American Bistro. That's the only restaurant that was over there. And then the Coney Island, there was nothing else over there. So any traffic that anybody that came to Good Cakes and Bakes came because they literally was coming to Good Cakes. But there'd be times when we would be there, we might have 2 customers the whole day. 2 people come in. But I was working out of a shared kitchen. So I have to go to this kitchen every morning. And I have to bake whatever I thought I was going to sell. Take it over to the kitchen, over to the bakery. And what we didn't sell will become waste. And we did this every day for 15 months. And not more so because of we was in a shared kitchen that long, only because, again, all the stuff that was going on in the city, you had the bankruptcy, but then also a month or so into being about to open, FBI came and walked out every inspector out of BC. So there's no inspectors in the city of Detroit to come inspect. So it took us 15 months just to get approval to even begin to build out a kitchen space inside of the bakery. So for 15 months, I was paying 2 rents, but I might have 4 customers. So the Lord, my mother is who got us through those first 2 years. My mother was paying the rent there, helping me pay bills because again, I wasn't working, so I wasn't making no money. Michelle was the only person working, and all the money that I might have had saved was going back into the business. So yeah, it was hard. It was hard for a Black person over there.
Absolutely. And we're gonna get into a lot of the triumphs and the transformation in a moment, but I gotta pause to introduce you to my favorite part of Black Fridays, which is Freestyle Fridays. Okay. So, April, are you an artist? Would you like to sing a song for us, do some poetry?
Oh, no.
Do you like to rap some bars?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Oh, no. Thank you. I appreciate you asking, but y'all don't want that from me.
Fair enough. Okay. All right. Respectfully decline, but Freestyle Friday is just random assortment of questions. They're all about you. I just need you to answer each one and answer honestly.
Okay.
All right. So, what is your favorite dessert?
Vanilla cupcake.
Just straight up vanilla
cupcake. Eat 2 of them a day.
Now, this is a critical question right now. What kind of icing?
Cream cheese only.
Cream cheese only?
Only cream cheese.
Okay, so would that be considered in the buttercream family?
No, it's good. It's
completely different.
Totally different.
So you got whipped, buttercream, cream cheese. Mm-hmm. Those are the 3 big 3.
There you go.
Got you. Okay, I like the way you think. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the cream cheese icing. Mm-hmm. What's your beef with vegan desserts?
I'm not doing the Lord's work. You're not doing the Lord's work. My belief is that pigs, cows, And chickens was put here for what? For us to consume. And so I'm going to do the Lord's work, and I'm going to consume those things. I feel like there's no purpose in not doing the Lord's work. And so that's my beef with
and wasting that good cattle
exactly.
and that bacon.
Bacon. I ain't never get rid of bacon. Never. So no. So I had no intention on ever doing anything vegan at the bakery.
Yeah.
It was like a no. When my friends Kirsten and Erica opened up Detroit Vegan, so I said, April, can you make us one? I was like, nope, sure can't. Sure cannot. And then we had this customer who I used to see her and her son walking down the street every day in the morning. Like, I think she like taking them to school or something. Mm. And she sent us a message on Facebook. On Facebook. She sent a DM on Facebook and was like, hey, me and my sons, we walk past there every day. They really want to come in there because it looks so cute, but we're vegan and, you don't have anything vegan in there. Mm. Is it possible you're going to make something? I was like, nope. Sure ain't. And at the time, Michelle used to get the Facebook notifications too. Mm-hmm. And so she's seen it and she's like, well, April, you said that you was for the community. The community is asking for vegan. I was like, no, it's no way you can make something vegan good. It's impossible to make something good. So the lady sent another message, maybe like a month or so later. And Michelle said, you have to try. And I was like, and so in my head, it was just like, how do I make something good vegan? And how am I going to know it's vegan if it's good? Because I'm not tasting it. Mm-hmm. So I said, okay. And again, I like vanilla cupcakes. I just feel like you can tell if a person can bake through vanilla. Yeah. Because you can't hide anything. It's a clean, pure baked good. Mm-hmm. So I said, okay, let me figure out how to make a vanilla vegan cupcake. So I was on the internet, and I like to go to PETA, that website, the PETA website, to find out like what can be used, what can't be used. Mm-hmm. So I went to the website. They was like coconut oil is a good substitution for butter, blah, blah, blah. So I said, okay, I made the cupcake. Then I had to make the icing. So then I sent the lady a message. I said, hey, I made this cupcake. Can you come try it? She came and she was like, oh, the cupcake is delicious, but the icing, ugh. And I was like, what? So now you done hurt my pride. I'm sensitive about my shit.
Right.
So I'm like, I need to make a good vegan icing. So she's like, oh, have you ever heard of Earth Balance? And I was like, no. She's like, oh, it's a vegan butter. She's like, you should try that. She said, because coconut oil, it has a high melting point, so it's going to make the ice, make icing heavy. I said, oh, that makes sense. So I tried it, made it. She liked it. And so then I said, okay, let me try and change one of my regular recipes to vegan. So I said, I'll try the red velvet cupcake. So I tried the red velvet, and I said, oh, dang, how am I going to make buttermilk? Because that's what make red velvet, buttermilk. Not a chocolate cake with color. It is not red velvet. There is some chemicals to make it a red velvet, and it is the buttermilk, the vinegar, and the baking soda. Mm. So I was like, how am I going to make buttermilk? So then, of course, I go to PETA. They say, oh, you add a little apple cider vinegar to some almond milk or soy milk. At the time, I had soy milk. So I said, okay, well, use soy milk. And then, I started reading about soy milk and how it's like not good for people. It's not good for men. If you're trying to have kids, it lowers your sperm count, slow you down. So I was like, so then we had a thing, we weren't going to use soy in the bakery. So we don't use soy in the bakery. So I made red velvet, took it to Kirsten and Erica. They loved it, gave it to them. So then started getting a good following of vegans. So now we try and offer as much stuff vegan as we offer regular. Mm-hmm. But I'm not trying to ever.
You're right. I found it amazing that you've been able to make vegan desserts that people enjoy and love. However, you have not tried any of them yourself.
So before I had employees, I would post it on social media. I'd be like, hey, I made this. Can I come try it for free? People would try to be like, oh, it's a little too sweet. It's not sweet enough. So then I go tweak it a little bit more and make it, but no. Now I have employees. I'd be like, try that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm never going to try it.
For sure. Mm-hmm. If you need any more taste testers,
for sure.
You know how to get in contact with me now.
Always. Yeah. We tested a different chocolate chip cookie recipe right now. We want to do a vanilla cake with chocolate icing vegan. So we testing a couple of new things for vegan. But yeah.
Say no more. I'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah, we definitely not trying that. Mm-hmm. So you vegan?
I'm not vegan, no.
I was going to say why.
But I can get down with the vegan desserts and the vegan food. Some of it, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh. Because I've heard you talk about it before, so I was what's the beef with vegan food? Beef.
I want to do the lowest work.
Understood. Yeah. Understood. When you're trying to get into the zone, whether you're doing work or if you're actually in the shop baking, what do you listen to, or do you put on music or anything?
Yes, for sure. Trap music, Jay-Z, Jeezy. I listen to Lil T Grizzly.
Okay,
definitely all trap music.
So you listen to Jeezy, but you literally in there cooking.
Oh, for sure. That gets me hype. I have a whole playlist called Trap and Jesus. I listen to trap music and gospel. You might hear Jeezy on, next thing you got Yolanda Adams going. Yes.
Some days they might be one and the same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It just gets me going.
Exactly. I love that. I love that. That's dope. What's one of your favorite aspects of being in business on the avenue of fashion? What's one of your favorite things about that?
Well, I have two. Can I give you two?
Yes.
One is being in the corridor that is the largest Black corridor, business owners and building owners in the United States.
Nice.
That's a good accolade to have. And then number two is that because we came over there from the beginning when they were just like reopening that area, we have a huge following and a big commitment from the community. Community definitely helps us, but we also helped the community from the beginning. Before we redesigned the space was large. We used to host all type of community events in there, meetings in there. So the community truly brought into us what we was offering. We made sure we listened and gave them what they asked for. So in a time when we needed them, they stepped up during COVID. They really stepped up. I was just talking to someone. I was saying, I have customers. We have about $7,700 still in gift cards that customers brought during COVID that they have not cashed in. And one lady comes in all the time, and I'd be like, man, she got about $500 in gift cards. She said, I never brought those to use, April. I brought those because I wanted to make sure on the other side of this that you were still here. She said, I had no intentions on ever using those and don't have no intentions now. I wanted to make sure that you was here. You was here for us when we wanted you. We wanted to make sure you was here on the other side.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot in terms of that intentionality.
Yeah.
Where would you say that came from for you? Like, did you go into it with a community aspect, or did you like identify what the community needed and then provide it? So
we went in. When we decided we were going to open up the bakery, me and Michelle sat down. We wrote our mission statement. We wanted to make sure we was a triple bottom line business. We wanted to be a third place before third place was a buzzword. We wanted to be a spot where you have homework and you want to have that other space where you go, you feel safe, included, welcome, and we want that space. And so we always been that way. We never like, you can come in there and sit, you can come in there and use our Wi-Fi. We won't require you to purchase anything. We allow the community to host events there, no charge, anything like that. We've done several like fundraisers. This was all pre-COVID with the community, but more so, we wanted to make sure, again, that we listen to the community. That's the only way you get a community to buy into you, is if you listen and give them what they want, not what you think they want. Don't try and be the savior. Oh, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to give you $20 hamburgers. And I live off a fixed income where I make $500 a month, but you give me a $20 hamburger because you think, oh, it's cool and it looks nice. It looks like New York. So I'm going to give you that. I can't afford that. I can't even come in there. So you wonder why all these businesses close down so quick. It's because they're not listening to what the community needs. They think they know what they need. And if the community can't afford you and don't need you, then how are you going to be sustainable over there?
Absolutely. And I want to thank you first for successfully passing Freestyle Friday. So thank you for partaking. And then to piggyback off of that, I was going to ask you, like, your second home is Atlanta, and you spent some time down there and then continue to go and visit. And recently, within the last year or so, their food scene kind of got exposed. And you mentioned talking about that community aspect first and keeping that in mind. And that was something you went and being intentional with. And it seems like there, and not to pick on Atlanta, but other places also, they put more emphasis on establishment first versus the community. And so do you have any experiences that you could kind of like share or talk about in that aspect, and how much of a difference it makes just being a business owner yourself and being able to have that longevity, and how that plays a factor when people flip it and don't come in with a community first aspect? So
one thing that is different from Detroit, from like Chicago and Atlanta and New York, is that those places have a tourism, right? So they don't necessarily need a community to buy in. We're getting millions of tourists a day. So I get the opportunity to deal with 1 million new people a day. Right. So I don't necessarily need my community to buy in, because that's not who I need. That's not who I need. I need the tourism. I need the people who come into the city to see me. So you get a different type of thing. Detroit is a big, small city. We survive and thrive off of community involvement. We thrive off of that. So if you're opening up a business and you're not connecting to the community the community that you're in, you're not connecting with them, you're not going to be survive. You're not going to be able to survive because Detroit has not got to the point where we are a destination spot enough that you can survive only off of tourism. Mm-hmm. And a lot of businesses in Detroit start off and they think because, I got a famous backer to me or something, that's going to draw. It's going to draw for a minute, but that's not going to be able to sustain you. You have business to come and they make millions and millions of dollars the first year, 2 years, but then after that, there's nothing. And it's because you did not put any intentionality in knowing who your core audience was. You can't be an audience, you can't be a business that services everybody. Mm-hmm. You have to have a target market and you have to be able to talk to those people because you only can survive off of returning customers. And if you're not giving me something that I want or desire, then I'm not coming back. I might come because it's just something shiny new. I'm gonna come the first time. But if you're not satisfying my appetite with my customer service, with the quality of the food, with the environment, then I'm not coming back. Mm-hmm. And so that's the difference with Detroit, being a business in Detroit and being a business in Atlanta, New York, Chicago, is that the tourism. Mm-hmm. They have a huge tourism because they have visitors. And so I don't need to make you like me because I don't care if you come back tomorrow. Right. Because I got a million more people that I can potentially see every day. Mm-hmm. That's the difference. Yeah, that's the difference. And
they got way more at bats.
Yeah, exactly. That you're right. That's exactly a good way to say they got a bunch more bats that they can be swinging opposed to me with one. I need to make sure that every ball to come to me, I need to hit it and I need to be a home run.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Speaking of that community aspect and building upon that, you've had some historic, iconic moments in terms of business, being able to do business with Oprah, former president, Beyonce, the president of the Black people. And so, and so I just wanted to know if you could talk to us a little bit about how those moments came about and what did it feel like to you as somebody who's been putting his work in and day out when those moments happen.
So those have all been great moments for us. Oprah was because I was in a shared kitchen at the time, and this was something that was new for Detroit, and she wanted to spotlight what was going on. So I was able to bake for her for that. Then Bill Clinton was because of the mayor. And Rick Ramson from Cressy Foundation. They were invited to go to Denver and speak on a panel at the Clinton Global Initiative, and they asked, it's talking about Detroit being a comeback city, and it's like, if you could bring one business owner, who would you bring? And they both said April from Good Cakes and Bakes. At the time, I had never met Rick Ramson. Mm-hmm. Rick Ramson. So I know nothing. I didn't even know nothing about him. But the mayor had invited me a couple times when he first got in office. He was doing roundtables with Black business owners. He wanted to know how could he help because he recognized at the time that Detroit a lot of focus was going to new white businesses, and Black businesses were already established, or new Black business was not getting the same resources and support that white business was getting. And so he wanted to make an initiative and an intentional effort to offer some resource and support to Black businesses. So I was invited to a couple roundtables. So that's how I met him. So those was great opportunities for us to be able to do. And we're super appreciative of those things. And Beyonce, it was because I am like a stalker. I knew that she was a vegan, her kids was vegan, and we was already providing baked goods for every event that happens at Ford Field. Mm-hmm. And so even though they had ordered, they didn't order nothing vegan. I was like, hey, we want to provide vegan stuff for Beyonce. And it's like, oh, they didn't order. I know she vegan. Oh, I know. Let me just do it. And they did. And we got a message back that the kids loved the little jars that we gave them. Mm-hmm. So all those things are great. But again, I go back to those are great opportunities. But community is what we do this for.
Absolutely. Yeah. Speaking of that, because you have been able to scale this business, you have a new location in downtown Detroit as well. I believe is a year old or maybe a little bit over. About to be two. It's July. Mm-hmm. Oh man, time moving.
I know it is. Yes.
Time is moving. So you have a new location that's about to be about 2 years old. And so one of the things that I had to ask you, because I know there was a story about this, is that you say you don't take a salary, so you don't take anything as far as away from the business for you. Number one, how are you living, making a living, if you can, whatever you can share. And then secondly, why is that the case even after all these years in business?
So let's be clear. So for 8 years, I didn't take a salary, right?
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
from 7 years, from 2013 to 2020, I didn't take a salary. In 2020, when COVID happened and we were able to really like slow down some and reevaluate things, we were able to like restructure things. And Michelle, we decided we were about to do nationwide shipping, and we figured that was going to take off, right? So Michelle was like, she was going to come over and help out. She's a social worker, so she was going to leave her job and come over to the bakery. But she was real clear, I'm only coming if I get paid. She was real clear about that. And so I was like, okay, at this stage, we can pay you. But I just did not feel right in my soul to pay her a salary and not pay myself a salary. So up until that point, I was okay with not having a salary and putting every dollar back into either the business or hiring more people, right? That was one of the main reasons why I opened, was because I wanted to be able to offer employment, mainly to returning citizens. But so I took a salary in 2021 and 2022. And then in 2023, it became sporadic that I would take a salary. I would take a paycheck because I had a lot of expenses and I had employees that I had to pay. I had bills that had to be paid. So I wasn't able to pay myself. And so then I just got so used to not paying myself that it went back to not paying myself, having employees. And how I'm able to live is that, let's see, at the time I have not a lot of bills. Okay. Like no car notes, none of that type of stuff. So it makes it easy. Then I have Michelle. But then I also do like speaking, I teach classes. So I have other avenues of income. It just wasn't, the bakery wasn't paying me. Yeah.
Why do you feel like that's important for people who are in business to at least consider that model in terms of not being so quick to take a salary?
Well, some people don't have that option, right?
Yeah.
Some people leave their job or they start this business and that's their only means of income. I was fortunate to have not only parent support, but I have Michelle's support. And then again, I have a degree, so I'm able to utilize my knowledge to help other people. So I'm able to, like freelance and get money. So that's not for everybody. Some people need every dollar they make, they need to be able to pay their bills. But I always tell people, you need to go into this knowing that it's not as glamorous as you think it is. And that it's best if you have a support system or if you really have saved up enough working capital. Because for the first 2 years, at least, every dollar that you make going right back into the business. Either it is to grow, expand, or to scale your business. But at least for the first 2 years, you need to make sure that you're able to take care of yourself outside of the money that's coming into the business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what are some, in your experience in business overall, and especially we could talk more so about like the restaurant industry or things like that, but in your experience, what are some of the things that people get wrong when it comes to business? And it could be from a financial standpoint or just operations or whatever, but what are some things that you see people falling on their face and unfortunately doing?
Branding. A lot of people don't put a lot into their brand. So branding is one thing, it is, but also understanding how to use working capital. So you have all these programs, and Detroit is nothing else. They have a lot of resources for small businesses, a lot of funding out there for small businesses, but not a lot of technical assistance for people to be able to know how to use that, right?
Yeah.
So you have all these people who might have a high school diploma, might have some college, but don't have any business knowledge, right? And so you give them this money to open up a business, but you're not telling them how to use it. So you have all these people, you get them $100,000 to open up a business, but you're not telling them that you need to set $60,000 out to the side for working capital. So they go spend that whole $100,000 buying all the newest equipment, getting them a nice car, getting a delivery truck wrapped, getting all this stuff, making a business look so pretty, right? For people to come in and make it Instagram worthy, right?
Yeah.
But you ain't got no money now to run the business. Don't believe that if you build it, they will come. That worked for Kevin Costner. Okay, it builds a dream. That don't work in the real world. If you build it, they will come. But it's going to take some time. So you need to have money for that. So you have all these people who open up these businesses with resources and grant money and pitch money, and then they close in a year because no one told them how to utilize this money, right? Everybody don't have financial literacy. you give me a lot of money. I don't know how to use that money.
Right.
So that's one of the biggest problems.
Like taxes. What's tax? Yeah, what's that?
Exactly. Not only taxes, but what about employment taxes, right?
Yeah.
You make your budget. I'm going to pay my employees $15 an hour. So, but you're really paying them $17 an hour because you got to pay employer taxes. You got to pay UIA taxes. You got to pay workman's comp. So you got to add another $2 for every hour that employee works to cover those expenses. Like, people don't understand about employer taxes. So for every $1 that I got to pay the IRS for you, a deduction from you, I got to match that. So if I got to send them $250 for your check as your deductions, as the employer, I got to send another $250 to the IRS. So you got to add that to your costs. And you don't have people who do that. They're not filing their taxes correctly. They're not taking out their income taxes for people. They don't know any of those things. So then they get into this bind and they don't know how to fix it. So I say all the time is that when people are reaching out to get grant money and all that, ask for technical assistance. Ask for somebody to help you set up your QuickBooks, right? I tell people all the time, go to accounting aid society. They'll set your charts of accounts up for you for free, right? And they'll show you can take a class for free where they'll show you how to input all this, like how you separate your COGS, your office supplies, how it is to separate it, how to get it into QuickBooks so that you're able to pull down, because you might not have the money at the beginning to get a bookkeeper or an accountant to do that. So take this class so that you're able to be able to see your true costs. Those are the things I tell people. Know your prices. That's number one. Know your prices.
For sure. And for everybody listening, those people that you see on Instagram talk about everything a tax deduction, it is not. You can't end up in jail.
Everything is not a tax deductible. The government allows you to write off a certain amount for everything. You can't go say, I made $2 million and I wrote off $2 million in taxes. No, don't let nobody get you in trouble.
Right. You're going to have to take back that Cybertruck.
Exactly.
Because,
and don't think, I'm going to put my 2-year-old child on payroll. Excuse me. Pay them $50,000 and I'm going to write that off. Okay, you and your child both going to be sitting next to each other in jail. You said what? Okay, write them off and see what happens. They're gonna be sitting next to you in jail, and you know your child eating. She don't play right. She gonna kill you. He didn't wake up ready for violence every day. So yeah, don't be listening to the Instagram telling people about you can write off everything and you can put your kids on there and write them off. The government ain't that doggone fools. They gonna let you just do that.
Right.
Or another thing they say on Instagram is everybody should be an S corp. Everything should be an S corp. Okay. Do you even know what an S corp is, people? Right. It is a special tax. It's a special tax for 3 years. And after that, you must become a corporation. And now we're going to tax you. So when you become an S corp, make sure you are ready to be a corporation, because in 3 years, you must become a corporation.
So it's a bridge.
It's a bridge, exactly. Yeah. It's a special tax break that the government gives you when you are going from an LLC to a corporation.
Got you.
So they are like, okay, so you're LLC, you're growing. We're going to put you in a special tax bracket as an S corp. And you do this for 3 years. And then either you must go back to an LLC or you must go to a corporation. And so we give you 3 years to figure it out. Because in 3 years, you need to get a board of directors. You need to start having minutes, because you need to send that in. And if you don't, and you go back to an LLC, then they're going to audit you. And if they see that you did this fraudulently, we're going to tax you like you're a corporation. So you might have only owed $2,000 as an LLC. But because you became an S corp and then went back to an LLC and you get audited, that $2,000 now turns into $45,000 you owe them, because we're not taxing you as a corporation and giving you penalties for those whole 3 years that you was a S corp. So y'all better stop listening to these people on Instagram.
Please.
And get real life. Because I can tell you, all the people who loving you and following you on Instagram, they ain't putting nothing on your commissary.
At all.
They ain't putting nothing on your books.
They just gonna unfollow you.
There you go. And talk about you.
Right. She fell off.
Big time. Look at her.
I knew that was gonna happen.
I knew that's happening. They're gonna be posting your mugshot online.
Talking about free so-and-so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't put me on no t-shirt.
Just forget about me.
Don't put me on no t-shirt. Don't do that free. Nope.
What has it been like for you becoming a leader in your business, and then so not. I mean, I know that you still work in your business, but in terms of leading teams, leading groups of people, different initiatives, what has that been like for you?
I failed. I failed. I don't understand it. I've tried to understand y'all generation. I can't. I can't relate to this. I need a manager that's a millennial or maybe even a Gen Z.
Okay.
But because I can't relate to it. I don't listen to it. I don't like excuses. I have no compassion for excuses. I have no compassion for bullshit. And I'm calling bullshit. And people don't like that. They don't like it. So yeah, I fail when it comes to being that type of leader. I am a leader like I was led, which is do your job, take accountability for your job, and show up on time. That's all I ask people to do. Do the job, show up on time, and be accountable for your fuck ups. And if you don't do that, yeah, I got some choice words for you. God bless your soul. God bless your soul.
So you mentioned the challenges is there's some disconnects in terms of how things are done. And I heard you talk about in a previous interview as well that you felt like you felt like you failed because you put the mirror on yourself to say, obviously I didn't either communicate a certain way, maybe I didn't show you the right way, like being able to put it back on yourself. Yeah,
and I do that because I'm trying to figure out like where is the disconnect at? I feel like I'm a person, I love teaching people stuff. I love it. I love teaching people, especially to bake. And I tell people all the time, tell me how you learn, and I will teach you that way. Have people who learn, they need directions, they need it step by step. Something can usually is written down in 10 steps, they need it written in 40 steps. No problem. I will write it, I will get it to you in 40 steps. If you tell me that's how you learn. If you tell me you learn by watching me do it, I'm going to work with you as long as you want me to doing it so you can do it. But don't tell me you got it and then fuck up. Because once you tell me you got it, I'm holding you accountable. Eggs ain't cheap, butter ain't cheap. So I'm holding you accountable for it. So just tell me how you learn. But people don't want to do that. Everybody know everything. You try and show somebody something, they're like, oh, you don't need to show me, I got it. So if I give it, you say you got it, and I walk away. Next thing I know, my cake is blowing up in the oven. You got it. Oh, I think I used baking powder, but the recipe said baking soda. Oh, I didn't read that part. What? That's the type of stuff you get. Oh, I didn't read that far down. I put the butter in last. But it says put the butter. Oh, I didn't read that. I didn't get that far. But why didn't you read the recipe? And whenever I get a person recipe, I say, here, take this, go have a seat, read it. Let me know if you have any questions. 2 minutes later, they're up. You read it? Oh, yeah, I read it. You saw them start. Whoa, what you doing? Why you pouring the milk? The milk say it got to be cold. Why you got it out already? Oh, I was just going to have it out. But it say use it cold. Why you got it on the table? Put it back in the refrigerator until you're ready for it. Stuff like that. So then I'd be like, did I say something that wasn't clear? Then I got to look at the recipe again like,
maybe I'm tripping.
Right, exactly. So now I'm reading it again like, okay, it makes sense. And so I'd be like, okay, so tell me, what did you understand when you read this? Oh, I understood it. Well, why look like that? So yeah, so I just can't. So yeah.
Got it. All right. Is there anything that you implementing now that you've learned to be more?
Yes, I have learned. I need a middle person.
Okay.
I need a person in between. I need a manager in between.
Okay.
And two, so not just because of the communication part, but because I feel like people feel like because I'm the owner, that they should have access to me. Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to say like I'm all this and I'm that you shouldn't be able to talk to me, but I can't run my business if I'm always answering your questions. Mm-hmm. It takes more than just baking a cake in order for Good Cakes and Bakes to be open. And I can't be in the kitchen talking to you when I know you know something, but you just want me in the kitchen with you. I can't be there. I need to be out marketing. I need to be out figuring out new things for us to do at Good Cakes and Bakes in order to grow. We don't survive from just making cakes every day. There's other things that has to happen. And so I need a person in between because everybody's asking me questions all day. Mm-hmm. If I'm not there, somehow they figure it out. But the fact that I'm there, I got a question. So I can't get stuff done because I literally have to be like, okay, I'm going to go to the coffee shop down the street to get some work done. I got a whole bakery. Why I gotta go to somebody else's coffee shop?
Yeah.
They ain't got good coffee. I gotta go there and get coffee and sit there to do work so that I can get stuff done. So I need a middle person in between.
Got you.
That's what I know, and that's what I'm trying to find. So if you're a good manager, come see me.
Oh, you actively seeking?
Oh, I'm actively seeking.
Okay,
yes.
yeah, tap in. Yeah,
oh, yes, for sure, definitely.
Okay. So, April, you mentioned that you put an emphasis on hiring returning citizens. How did that come about, and what has that process been like? That initiative been like for you?
So it started because my son was in prison, and I knew he was going to be a black man coming home with a felony, and so I wanted to be able to offer him a job, have a job waiting for him when he came home, right? And so before he came home, because he had to do 6 years, before he came home, he would be sending like his bunkies to me and be like, "Y'all know what bunkies are?"
Like a roommate?
Roommate. So they'd be like, "Oh, Brandon told me to come see you, gonna give me a job." And the first time somebody did, I was like, "Whoa, what?" And Michelle's like, "Well, that's what we said we was gonna do." And so I was like, "Cool, yeah." So I hired them, and at the time, we started from the moment we opened and we was able to hire people. We started at $15 an hour. That was in 2014, right? $15 an hour, no experience. And most of them come and they be like, oh, they think they about to be a dishwasher or something like that. I'm like, oh, no, I'm about to teach you how to bake.
Right.
I'm going to teach you how to bake. And they be like, well, I ain't never baked. That's okay. You're the best person for me to teach. So we have had some great employees who have come from prison. Only thing was that I didn't want to know what you did. That's not my business. And so then we had got to the point we were we was working with a parole agent, and she would send us people. Only condition we had, they couldn't have a sex crime.
Okay.
Because my niece at the time, who was 8 years old, was there. I had, minors, kids from high school worked there. So that's the only condition that they couldn't have a sex crime. Other than that, you did your time.
That's your business.
That's your business. That ain't my business. Yeah.
Love it. So in terms of, I would like to know if you could give us your special sauce or your secret as to what are some key ingredients to develop a healthy, strong, sustainable business from your experience.
Knowing your numbers, knowing who your customer is, and focusing on why you start your business. I know some of this sounds so cliche, but it's the truth. You got to know your why. You got to know why you're doing it, what you want to do, and why you're not going to do something. And the reason why is because if not, you're going to be all over the place. When we first started, I didn't know my why. I knew my why, but I questioned my why. So a person come in and say, hey, can you make this? I'd be like, oh, yeah, I'll make it. Oh, we need milk in here. Okay, I'm going to get milk in the kitchen. And then I go get all these things and people don't get it. So I had to sit down and be like, April, why are you doing this? What was your goal when you did this? And it was, I wanted to make delicious baked goods that reminded you of your grandmother or your great-grandmother, depending on how young you are. If you're young, your grandmother ain't cook for you. It was your great-grandma who cooked for you because mom was out in the streets. Your great-grandma cooked for you. So I want to remind you of the person who cooked from scratch, made you a cake from scratch. You go over there, you knew you was going to get a good pie, good cake. I want you to remember that. That's why we made. We didn't open up Good Cakes and Bakes to do trendy cakes that look like shoes and all that. And we was doing that at one point.
Yeah.
And that's not what I want, because two things is, when a person wants a cake like that, they want it for appearance, right? They might not even eat that cake. It's just there for appearance. I want you to eat my cake. I want my cake to be good, and I want it to be eaten. It's not there it's not a display cake. You want a display cake? Go somebody who's gonna use that Duncan Hines. I like Duncan Hines, but that's not what you use in the Good Cakes and Bakes.
Right.
You come to Good Cakes and Bakes because you want a good cake. You want a cake to remind you of your nana, your grandma. You want that, and that's what we give you there. So I had to remember that. I had to go back to why Good Cakes and Bakes was started. So you always know your why. And you want to know your why because, again, you don't want to be straight off. If you're trying to do all of the trendy stuff, everything that's trendy, you're going to go out of business. Because it's a trend, and a trend is exactly that. It's something that comes and go. And your business you can offer some trendy stuff, but don't let that be the core of your business. Yeah. What's
the biggest thing you learned about yourself since you've been in business?
That I don't really like people. And
that's how I started the interview. That you don't,
I don't really like people. I thought I did. I was like, I like bacon. I like seeing the people reaction from baked goods. I love that. But I'd rather be in the back. I don't need to be in the front. And I thought at first I did. I wanted to talk to customers. And not that I don't like my customers. I just feel like I don't need to be in the spotlight. I'd rather be in the back. So that's why in 2007, 17, I used to have the avatar as my logo. I took it away because I wanted Good Cakes and Bakes to be Good Cakes and Bakes, not April's Good Cakes and Bakes. So I learned that I want to be more in the back. I don't need to be in the forefront. I don't need that. Yeah.
That made me think about a question I meant to ask earlier when you had talk about people don't invest enough in their marketing and their branding. That's something that you all have been pretty intentional about. And so I wanted to know what drove the intentionality behind that, because I see the content and the things that you put out. And feel free to shout out your social media person as well who helps get.
She trash. She trash. No, everybody know who my social media person is because she like Puffy. You don't want to produce her who all in the videos dancing and stuff. Yeah. Then you don't want to go to Bad Boys. If you don't want a social media person, so all of your videos, you don't want Christina. For most of these. So Chrissy, that's who our social media person was. Okay. And we realized in 2021, I got you, 21, that the social media wasn't something that I enjoyed doing. I enjoyed stalking people's pages and going up and looking at video stuff, but posting, and I knew that we needed that. Yeah. Social media is something that I'll give a great shout out to Lisa from Sister Pie. She started her business on social media. She put a lot of her time before she opened building her social media platform. And I feel like that has definitely scaled her to where she is. And I wish that's the one thing I always say, I wish that we would have put more time into building our social media platform when we opened. Because Instagram started a year before Good Cakes and Bakes started. And if we would have really dove into it in 2012 when it first started, I feel like we would be further than where we are. But I've never been a person who wanted to be in a spotlight. I went to school to be an accountant because I wanted to be in a cubicle and not have to talk to people. That's the reason why I chose accountant. I didn't want to have to talk to people, so I didn't want to be on social media. And so in 2021, I realized that we needed that. We needed that. And so I needed somebody who could do that. And Christina was the person who, she was stalking us, first of all, but she was the person who beat us down to take over our social media. Love that.
And from speaking of, I know you're big on community, that's also another avenue to be able to connect and let them know what's going on, be able to talk to them and speak to them in the way that you want to and stuff like that.
So social media branding and for us, branding, we really got deep into branding, and we won Detroit Demo Days. We won top prize in 2017. And one of the benefits outside of getting $200,000 was that they connected us with a lot of different mentors. So all we had to do is tell them our wild ass dream is what they call it. And they would connect us. And so at that time, we really thought we wanted to make a cake mix, like an organic cake mix. So they connected us with somebody from Kellogg, who had just left Kellogg and was going over to Betty Crocker. And what is General Mills? He was going over to General Mills, and he came and talked to us. He told us all about what it takes to do a cake mix, how much we have to sell in order to be profitable from it. But more so, he sat there and he just observed the bakery. And he just started breaking down stuff. He was like, you got all these different flyers. And because, again, I'm always thinking about marketing stuff, I was like, we need a flyer for winter. We had just started doing soup because we learned in January, a lot of Black churches do the Daniel fast. So they eat no sweets. So we need to have something for them, right? So we had all these different flyers on the counter, like for everything, for soup, for catering, for ice cream. And he was like, everyone needs a different color. I said, it's matching. Like the orange and brown is for fall, and the soup, this right here with the green and yellow and stuff, that's for like summer ice cream. He said, but I should be able to look at all of those and know they're Good Cakes and Bakes. I got to read each one of those to know. I'm thinking those 4 different businesses. I was like, oh. He was like, yeah. He said, everything should always match. He said, you know how you go to McDonald's? And you ain't even got to see McDonald's. You're on the freeway. You see the golden arches. You know what that is, right? You see that crown. You know that's Burger King. He was like, that's how you build a brand. And from that point on, that's when we took away the avatar. We spent money to get custom boxes. That's why we don't put our boxes in bags, because people walking down the street to their car, because first of all, you ain't no parking on the way, so you got to park way down the street.
At all,
so that means you about to walk past all those businesses, and you're going to have either our bag with our logo on it, or you're going to have our pink box. And people are like, oh, and so we've gotten so many people to come into the bakery. It's like, I came down here because I done seen about 20 people walk past with this pink box. I want to know what's in here. Yep, that was the goal. So again, building our brand so that you don't have to see Good Cakes and Bakes to know it's Good Cakes and Bakes, right? You don't have to see the words to be able to know. And so from that point on, I thought every decision that we made has always been, I want you to be able to know it's Good Cakes and Bakes without seeing the word Good Cakes and Bakes. And all of that came after sitting down with that guy from General Mills who told us, how you build a brand is by building it where I know it without seeing your name. And so I tell people that all the time, spend that money on packaging, spend that money to have someone really design your brand kit, not no Canva. Have somebody do it for you professionally. And then you can use the blueprint they give you, and you go work on Canva to make your own stuff. But you need to have a blueprint. It professionally done. Pay that money to get that brand kit where it tells you what's your colors. It tells you what fonts look best for your business, what works best, and use that when you go on Canva or whatever to design it, to make a newsletter or anything like that. But have somebody design it professionally first, because you need to sit down and talk to somebody and tell them, what's your goal? What's your goal? Like, who you're trying to connect with, who you're trying to get attention, who attention you're trying to get with this brand and this packaging, so that they can design it for you.
So I love the way that you think and approach business, and I wanted to know if I could put this scenario in front of you and see what you would do with it. Let's say Good Cakes and Bakes is no longer on the table. Let's say they told you, April, you got to go do something else with your time. You cannot work here, not another minute, not ever. So what would you do if you had to build a business from scratch? And you can pick whatever industry. It could be whatever. It don't have to be in restaurants or baking. But what would you do, and how would you get it up to like a state where it could be scalable or just in the black and profitable? Like how would you approach that?
So first of all, I already know this. I ain't got to think like this. There's no scenario. So I'm going to have a bed and breakfast. It's going to be in the Peak Skills of New York. It is going to have 2 chickens on the farm. Not that I'm going to do anything with the chickens. They're just going to be there. They're just there. But a bed and breakfast. I'm going to have a bed and breakfast, maybe 6 rooms in there. I'm gonna live there. Me and Michelle will live there. But that's what good. That's when I decide that I'm exiting Good Cakes and Bakes, it is going to be to go have a bed and breakfast where I can teach classes in there as well.
It's like cooking classes?
Yeah, cooking classes in there. But to be able to get up every day and make breakfast for people, have nice pastries for them, that's what I like. I like making breakfast stuff.
That's fire.
Yes.
So chicken and waffles coming to Good Cakes and Bakes anytime soon?
We've done that already. I don't know.
Oh, you have? I missed out.
Yeah, before there was a Cuzzo's.
Okay.
We used to do a Sunday brunch.
Okay.
And it was a $25 all you can eat.
Oh man.
And we used to do different stuff each week. We had in May we did like a derby one. We did all you can eat fish, shrimp, catfish, perch, all you can eat, $25. Unlimited mimosas. We did chicken and waffles. We done shrimp and grits. We did it for 8 months.
Can you bring that back for the one time?
My niece literally just asked me, can we, because they used to be church. They used to be their church. And my father, they would all come and they would eat that. But yeah, we did that we did it every other Sunday. We did it twice a month, the second and fourth Sunday of the month.
I know that food was fire. I missed out.
It was. Oh. And it was so crazy because we didn't have the kitchen in. We was doing all that on the counter because we didn't have the kitchen. We hadn't built out a kitchen yet. Now.
Yeah, no, that's next level.
Yeah. It was good. It was good. It was so good that Cuzzo's asking they buy our red velvet recipe. It's like, no.
Gotta hold on to that one.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm sorry.
So April, what's next? What's next for you personally? What's next for Good Cakes and Bakes, the brand? You got the second location that's downtown, and then I'm not sure if there's any others that's on the horizon.
Oh, no.
Whatever you can. Oh, no. Whatever you can share with us. What's next?
So we'll continue to scale our nationwide shipping. We're going to start some cooking classes soon. In the next 2 months, we'll be offering some cooking classes, and then we're going to do a subscription. So that's what's next for us. So the goal is that I never ever want to have multiple locations. That was never ever the plan. The plan has always been to grow through shipping.
Yeah.
To grow so much that we would have multiple distributions in different regions. So that continue to do that. I would like to do some type of like teaching, not only baking, but also teaching people how to start a business and run a business successfully. And when I say run a business successfully, it's run your business successfully from revenue, not from going out here getting all these grants and all that. Because you're not running a business like that. You're just, what you're doing is you're just funneling money into your business, right? You're not running the business. So how to grow your business through the revenue and scale through your revenue that you're making. That's next. That's it. Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to start April's MBA program.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yes.
I like that. Well, we're very grateful for you pulling up on the podcast today.
Oh, for sure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And sharing your wisdom with us. And like I said, I'm a avid supporter of Good Cakes and Bakes. I will be there soon. I don't do as much with the sweets now because I'm just trying to be more conscious of my diet. But I'm always pulling up the Good Cakes and Bakes and trying.
Wait, let's go back to that.
Talk to me.
Why not sweets? What sweets got to do with anything?
What do you mean?
You can eat sweets every day, just eat in moderation. And we're not using all wholesome ingredients. You ain't about to have no preservatives. You ain't about to have no GMOs, none of that. So you can have a piece of cake every day.
Yeah, you're right, but that's not gonna go well for me. I'm telling you that it's gonna one slice gonna turn into two.
No, it's not. I can make sure. One, I'm telling you, don't do Good Cakes and Bakes. You can have good cake. I do it every day. I do it every day. I do 2 cupcakes.
In moderation, you can do it in moderation.
I do 2 cupcakes a day.
What are they for breakfast, or you just do it randomly throughout the day?
I like to have one in the morning for breakfast, along with my good old Starbucks.
Okay.
And then I have another one later on in the day. And so some days I might have one vanilla in the morning when it first comes out the oven. I put the icing on there, eat it while it's so hot the icing's just running off of it because I'm just that greedy. And then later in the day I have another one, or I might have a chocolate.
Okay.
And so we have changed the size of our cupcakes so they're a little bit bigger. So now I make sandwiches with it. So I just like take the bottom off of it and put it on top of it, and I just eat it like that.
So you don't care about my health. You don't care about my well-being, telling me stuff like that.
So eat 2 cupcakes, right? And then just go exercise.
Okay.
Just go exercise. Just walk around.
I'm going to figure out how to fit it into my macros.
Exactly.
Yeah, on a daily basis. But just know I'm going to Good Cakes and Bakes whenever I'm in the area.
There you go. We appreciate that. And we deliver too, so you ain't got to be in the area. We will deliver it to you. Just go on the website, order, and say, hey, bring it to my door.
Yes.
And I'm there.
Yes. And tell people what's the website and how they can get in touch with you.
It is goodcakesandbakes.com. You can go on the website. You can order for pickup. You can order for delivery. You can order for shipping.
And addresses to the locations.
Yep. So we have 2 locations. One is at 22 West Columbia, which is directly across the street from Comerica Park. And the second one is at 19363 Livernois, which is between 7 Mile Auto Drive on the Avenue of Fashion.
Love it.
Love it. So come to either one of our locations again. Or if you're a person who works from home, you're like, I really want a cupcake, but I just got to be able. No problem. We will deliver. Go on the website, order.
I love it.
We will bring it right to your door.
I love it. Always be selling.
Always. We're like your sugar pushers. We're going to get it to you.
Yeah.
Get it to you.
Get you. Exactly. I got what you need.
Exactly. Always. I'm going to get you right.
Absolutely. Well, appreciate you again, April.
Thank you.
Thank you for pulling up.
Thank you so much for having me on here. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Everybody watching, listening, we're going to talk to y'all soon. Peace.